Hello.
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 So this is a Christmas market.
Oh, this is that Christmas market. The one that's the one we're doing.
Yes.
Not that Christmas market. There's
Not
only one.
that Christmas
There's
market.
only one Christmas market we've done. Right?
No, I've done 15 in
I'm
preparation to build this.
I'm so sorry.
No, I'm kidding. I've only done this one. But yes. So fun fact: I've made some notes right now because I thought I should offer some insightful information. So Christmas markets actually date back to the late Middle Ages. They've been a thing for a long time. That's around when people actually started, setting up stalls to sell gifts for Christmas. Despite that, gift giving around Christmas time has been a thing for a long time, mostly due to the three kings giving Jesus gold, frankincense and myrrh.
What does this have to do with the market?
Because Christmas
Is your market built on these themes?
No.
Or is it just on the theme of Christmas? Pretty broad.
It's pretty broad.
Why did you make why Christmas market? Why didn't you make a nativity scene then?
Because I wanted to make a Christmas market.
Oh.
Yeah.
So wait, you're raising it up.
Yeah, it's
What
called
was the
waterfront.
idea between putting it on the waterfront?
So it would look cool.
Because I've been to a few
Right.
weird Christmas markets. There was that old one. It was on the news
I don't know.
last year. Do you know that one that was in like a big sort of square, and it used to only open for like once a week, and they turned it into a Christmas market sometimes a year,
I'm not sure.
and it actually got closed down, or they're knocking it down or something.
Oh, why?
So I don't know. I don't think it could be put down as a heritage site, even though it's very old.
Oh. Well, yeah, that makes sense though. Christmas markets only used to be open a couple days at a time.
But this was like, it was also a market used for other shit.
Yeah.
Sorry. But it would be only open like Saturdays,
Yeah.
because that used to be the tradition back then.
Right.
And that was in
We're
a
getting rid of
square with like a bit around the sort of top. So what made you think of having a raised one?
I don't know, I just like the idea of it being on a dock. Like, it probably used to be a site where ships would dock, but over time they paved over a lot of the river, and so this is still connected to the river. You can see we've got it near water, but a lot of it was paved over, and so it's connected underground, but you can't see it. And so now it's not so much a dock, as it wasn't really there for any particular reason. They couldn't do anything with it, so now it's just a marketplace.
How do they get electricity up there? Just wires from next door?
I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a bee in the room, or a fly. Hopefully the mic's not picking that up. I doubt it. It's not that great.
The only fly left alive in the middle of December.
I saw that fly in the bathroom earlier, and Bucky was meant to get it, but he just kept staring at me. Because cats, contrary to
Go on,
popular
Gizzy,
belief, can be
get
quite
it.
silly.
Go on, baby.
But
She's
yes.
coughed. Go on, Gizzy.
That hoarse, breathy cough kind of thing. But yeah, so gift giving around Christmas does go back to the winter solstice. It was a pagan kind of thing, but the ancient Romans celebrated something called Saturnalia. I don't know if that's being pronounced correctly. That took place during the winter solstice, and it involved gift giving and partying and stuff, and for a short while they overturned the rules and you were allowed to gamble for a little while. Initially gift giving, well, not initially, but at some point gift giving became a thing where the wealthy said it was time for their subjects to show their gratitude, and so their subjects and servants would have to give the wealthy people gifts as thanks for something.
So what, the poor eventually scraped some stuff together and said, well, why don't we give something to each other as well?
I think it was the Protestant Reformation. I didn't actually make notes on this, but I think it was the Protestant Reformation that
You did a full history lesson.
That made it more like what it is today. Taking a big gap in that history lesson, let's go all the way to Coca-Cola. So a lot of people think that Santa Claus only started wearing red after Coca-Cola kind of stole him as their mascot for a time. But actually he was depicted in red prior to that, but he was also depicted in green because he represented the coming of spring. you know, giving hope throughout the cold winter
Oh,
months and
okay.
stuff. I don't know if anyone's ever watched Fruit Basket, probably, because I think you're probably one of the few people who hasn't. But it reminded me of Fruit Basket in a really, you know,
What's Fruit Basket?
sappy moment. You didn't like it. It's the anime where they turn into animals of the zodiac because of a curse.
Oh yeah.
Do 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 do.
Oh yeah. Sure.
Anyway, you know, it reminded me of a moment in that where the guy who turns into a snake was like, "What does snow remind you of?" And the main girl goes, "It means spring is coming." And then he's like, "Oh, no one has said that since my wife died." And yeah. So anyway, back to Santa Claus. The original oil painting done for Coca-Cola of Santa Claus doesn't exist anymore because canvases were too expensive back then, and so the guy who initially painted that had to paint over that canvas a few times.
Stingy Coca-Cola.
He was paid $1,000 for quite a few of his paintings of Father Christmas, actually.
What year was that?
In 1931. That was the
Oh,
first one he painted.
I'm not, you know, too savvy with that sort of thing, but I'm going to assume that was a lot of money.
Lots of money.
As my granddad told me.
You could buy a car
you
for
know,
$700.
In the '70s, he bought his house for £700.
Oh my god, yeah, but that was a special case, wasn't it, really?
Well, kind of.
He nearly got in trouble, but it was too late. But yeah, so Coca-Cola's initial Santa painting was done in 1931 by Haddon Sundblom, and he took inspiration from the poem called A Visit from St. Nicholas, which is more widely known as The Night Before Christmas. That's my lesson on Christmas.
On Christmas.
Actually, as well as that, the first ever Christmas market that was referred to as a Christmas market was in Dresden in Germany in 1434, but prior to that there was one held in Vienna in 1294, but they just referred to it as a December market, but it's not the same purpose. Anyway, that's the end of that.
So a Christmas market is a
Fun
place
facts.
where you get gifts.
Yeah.
Seasonal.
Seasonal gifts.
Cool.
Like mulled wine and comforting foods and stuff. I don't think we've ever gone to a Christmas market, have we? Have you ever gone to
We've
one?
been to a market at Christmas. We have never been to a Christmas market.
We have been to markets in
I
the
think there's a
sense,
subtle difference.
but I mean, they're very commercial now, which is quite sad, but unavoidable, I guess. But oh well. I mean,
we're in London, so...
I know London's the worst place in the world for commercialisation of everything ever. But I guess in a way it's good, it means you can buy gifts, especially when you don't know your relatives well enough to get them something tailored specifically to them and you just buy everyone soaps.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, what was the thought on doing the archways here?
It was just meant to look like a bridge kind of thing. So over
It
time
looks-
it was a dock and it was a bridge, and over time it's just amalgamated into whatever this clusterfuck is.
It looks, French?
Oh really? It was meant to look kind of vaguely European.
Yeah, that's what I mean, like... And The Sims is set in America, so you can kind of believe it, because America has nicked a bit of everything. So, you know, you go down to... where is it? Oh, I can't remember, it's actually just gone in my head. The place Streetcar is set.
I don't know. I've never seen it.
Have you read it?
No. What, A Streetcar Named Desire?
Yeah, you've
no,
never read it?
No, I've never read it.
Oh.
Is it good?
The French
Have you
city
read
where that is, I think it's Orleans.
New Orleans?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's like a
Oh,
French
yeah.
speaking place, so
And France has gifted America a
this has that
statue.
same feel, those sort of
Pseudo-European
Mhm.
locations, yeah. This bit, I was thinking of just London, you know, when you walk around the Thames and you can go downstairs and you'll be right next to the water for whatever reason. Like, I don't know why you'd ever want to go next to that, to the Thames. I mean, you just see absolutely disgusting stuff floating on the surface constantly, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know why you want to get close to it. Instead of making the water brown like the Thames, though, I made it that murky green that implies it's only dirty because of what's meant to live underwater, not because of the shit thrown in by people visiting the Christmas market and all their fish and chip wrappers and stuff. That said, fish and chips, that's a really English stereotype, right? It's like, oh, English people ate fish and chips. I've very rarely eaten fish and chips in my life.
I don't go much.
No.
I don't.
But that said, there are a lot of fish and chips places. I just think a lot of them look...
They're sort of standard.
Yeah. As standard as McDonald's and KFC.
I don't know.
But more traditional.
I think there's less now than when we were kids.
Yeah.
Now there's more kebab shops.
And chicken shops.
Oh, I don't mind the kebab shops as much as the chicken shops. Chicken shops.
Just a lot of them just look so...
Oh no, I'm not going to say dirty.
But I'm heavily going to imply it. Anyway, so this build took me a long time because I was trying to figure out the placements and I thought maybe I should have done it on a bigger lot, but then it might have gotten too cluttered, I don't know. So we do end up skipping a little bit of footage because I started building Santa's grotto, but then I thought it looked too out of place, and so we end up deleting that building and putting something else there.
What is a grotto? I always thought it was like a cave.
So did I. But
Right?
it's never depicted that way.
Why Santa's grotto is always just kind of like a cabin.
It is. It's
Why
always
don't they
this
call it
little
Santa's
cabin
cabin?
with light fairy light. I don't
Santa's
know.
grotto sounds quite nefarious.
It does sound nefarious, doesn't it? I've always thought so too. Even as a kid, I was like, "What's a grotto?" And my mum didn't know what a grotto was, but I always thought it sounded kind of creepy, and I never wanted to. I had some unusual social anxiety for a child, and so I never wanted to go sit on Santa's lap because Santa was a stranger, and I didn't want to speak to him. Honestly.
So you've dumped a Christmas tree in the centre.
Yeah.
You're
that
going to
moves
move
to the
this,
back.
aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was going to say it's pretty inefficient. It's going to take up so you're going to have to reduce the size of so many things if that's in the
Mummy,
centre.
I want to go to the Christmas market.
So
oh,
what's a grotto?
darling, it's too inefficient.
A grotto is a natural or artificial cave used by humans in both modern times and antiquity. So there you go. Santa's grotto is Santa's cabin.
Or cavern.
Like...
But yeah, they're meant to be more like caves. But Santa's grotto is always just a
coined
little...
that term?
I don't know, it would take too long to look for it now. I would just be reading Wikipedia for it and we'd have a big gap in the video of us just mouth breathing. But yeah, no, Santa's grotto is always just depicted as like a tiny...
Cabin.
Vaguely European looking house or cabin, yeah. Did you ever like going to visit Santa when you were a kid?
I visited Santa once when I was 3 or 4, so Annie would have been, my sister, would have been 2 or something. And we went in there. I don't know how much Mum paid to get you into Santa's grotto because he gives you a random toy.
Oh really?
Yeah,
oh,
your
that's
gacha
special.
Santa.
Gachapon Santa!
And he just gave me this piece of shit.
What was it?
Action Man that I
Oh,
got out and I was like, wow!
Thanks.
It had some
Santa.
loose clothes on it, and I moved his arms a bit, and then it went pop, and
Did
it came
you-
off,
did
and
you
then it
already-
never went back together.
Did you already know at that point that Santa wasn't real? I feel like you were jaded enough as a child to know.
I don't know. I was quite disillusioned that he had such shoddy stuff from Thailand or Taiwan.
Santa's not meant to have made in China stuff.
That was quite bad.
How old were you when you knew that Santa wasn't real?
I don't know if it was
not
a
to imply
moment
if
where I
anyone's
said,
watching this.
"Oh, Santa's not real." It just kind of phased out of my life.
Oh, okay.
I mean, waking up and catching Mum and Dad wrapping up all the presents might have been a big tip on.
Did they do it at, like, late when you were asleep, or did they just kind
Yeah, we woke up and they were wrapping it up.
Oh dear. Did they label it, like, from Santa? Or were there no labels? They just said, oh, this is
they
from
would
Santa.
label one thing every year from Santa.
Okay, right. Well, I figured it out because so my aunt had the idea to give my younger cousin a note from Santa. I don't know why they thought of this. I guess it could be sweet. And so my mum also thought, that's a fantastic idea. I'll do the same thing. So my cousin and I both got notes from Santa. And Santa's handwriting changed significantly in my cousin's note and in my note. And I was like, Mum, wow,
Santa's illiterate like you.
Santa's illiterate like you. He spelled his own name wrong. And she just kind of looked nervous and didn't say anything. She didn't try to cover it up. And so I just looked at her for a few moments and said, Mum, Santa's not real, is he? And she just kind of went,
It's not just that Santa, you can just deduce that Santa isn't real. Children are inherent liars, if they're clever enough to be liars.
So you could pretend that you think that he is real?
No.
Oh.
What I'm getting at here is, as a child, you're kind of clued up to sort of expect devious things, because children are quite nefarious creatures. So, because you're so clued up on it, I think all the television and all the cartoons constantly, every episode is, but is Santa real? And I think as a kid, you just kind of, it seeps into you. You're like, why is everyone asking if Santa's real?
I know, why is that
everything? Why is this the big discussion of our age?
Christmas
And I
Christmas
think
movies are always
once
made
you
by
just get a
adults.
little bit of evidence as a kid, you just kind of like, oh, yeah, I guess.
That's
and
why
as you
they
become
always
more
are.
savvy on how things work and stuff, just, if you haven't had one of those moments, it just becomes, yeah, he isn't real.
Oh, that sounds so sad.
Like, you start to notice that Mum and Dad never bothered signing your Christmas present from Santa, or they started just saying, sorry hon, I couldn't get you that thing you wanted this year.
Oh yeah.
Or they say something like, okay, but this is taking up your birthday money. Now why would Santa deprive me of my birthday at the expense of my Christmas present?
Oh no. What kind of gifts did you get as a kid?
If we're well off enough in the future, and say we have a sprog one day.
A sprog?
Maybe we can make them believe in Santa long enough for someone at like their secondary school to say, you believe in Santa, what are you, gay? And they'll just be like, no, I'm not gay.
Why? Why is that the thing?
Well, that's the insult, isn't it?
For believing in Father Christmas?
Yeah, that's what every kid said that when I was a kid. No, not, but I mean, you were gay on anything. Like,
maybe it's because
wanna play Pokemon? You're 9, what are you, gay?
And now everyone's like, I'm such a nerd.
It got to the point where it's like, want to play Kiss Chase? What do you think I am? Gay.
But you're a girl. Girl. No, I never got, but you're gay. I always got, yeah, but you're fat. I'm sure it's unrelated, but I was never invited to play Kiss Chase.
So how are we doing here? We've gone off on...
Then again, I couldn't run, I was too fat.
Okay, so you've got a few stands up now. I think a fish and chip shop in the corner.
No, there's no fish and... Can you make fish and chips in December? I've never played.
I don't know, you can make a fish shop stand. I thought that was a fish and chip shop.
Oh yeah, you can, yeah. Oh yeah, there is.
I thought you were going to say, nice, just to sell aquarium fish, you can't eat those.
Aesthetic. No, those fish stands do disappear because I end up putting in this little cafe kind of bit. Just so I could make my characters who own this lot bake some stuff that you could sell. But before I ended up being able to save the lot with the cakes intact, people just came right up and took pieces. So I uploaded this and there's probably half-eaten cakes everywhere now, so that's great because Sims are awful. But anyway... Sorry, there was a pause because Tom wants to leave.
No, I don't want to leave! I just think you should always do a sort of dedicated bye-bye, and every time you're always just kind of rushing it and just go bye-bye, and it fades out.
Yeah, it's casual. I don't want people to think that I'm trying. Otherwise it makes it more sad how bad my editing is. Anyway... So yeah, we don't get around to decorating in this part, by the way. There is another part because I took ages doing this for some reason because it was really hard for me, for some reason, to figure out where everything should go. As you can see, I attempted a pathway as if that would help me figure out a layout. I don't know how much that did help. But everything is accessible. Nothing is actually blocked off or unusable. So that's good. We end up having a toy store where I put in a bucket with what's meant to look like apples for you to go apple bobbing. Is that what you call it? Apple bobbing?
Apple bobbing.
Yeah, apple bobbing, so you can win a plushie for your kids or yourself or whatever. The apples are in fact just dog toys that are red, because they work for everything. Like Pokeballs in the last build I did. Because I wanted to do that thing where you're meant to hook a toy and pick it up and it has a number and that number wins you a prize, but I couldn't manage to pull it off because we're already raised up above water, so it wouldn't let me put in a fountain or a pool, and I didn't want to just put in blue ground and pretend it was water. And I didn't want to put one of the fish tanks in because then it was like, how are you going to access it? Anyway, so yeah, there's apple bobbing of sorts, but this is listed as a retail lot, so you're going to have to just role play that and then just buy yourself a toy. Then there is a gem shop, because there's always something like that. There's always, wherever you go, there's always like a gem shop kind of thing, isn't there? Mm-hmm. Anyway, well,
We're
you'll find
running out of time. Part 2, the gem shop.
You'll find out everything that's going to be in the next part, so see you next time. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye.